sneaker choices during the NBA Summer League last week in Las Vegas. All right, we're talking about this news because Ball started the Summer League wearing his own signature sneaker, the Big Baller brand, but then switched to a pair of Nikes and then Adidas.
He's starting a bidding war. This is exactly what he and his I'm not going to say crazy father wanted to do anyway.
Well, flipping back and forth between these stories and this story and the shoes, let's get Josh Luber in now, the CEO of StockX, to talk about this. Josh, how significant is that Ball is choosing to wear other sneakers than his own brand while he's playing the games?
Or is his dad doing this on purpose?
Look, I think this is actually one of the most interesting, maybe the best thing that they've done for Big Baller Brand since they started. Lonzo has worn Nike's Kobe, he's worn Adidas's James Harden, he's worn Under Armour's Steph Curry, and he's worn Jordan. When they asked him why he was doing that, the first answer he gave, he said Big Baller Brand is about freedom. That's a good answer, right? Disrupting the notion that an endorser has to wear that specific shoe 100% of the time, that's not a bad idea, right? Most people don't wear the same thing all the time, so we'll see where this goes, whether it becomes a bidding war, whether he actually starts wearing them all, or maybe he's just doing this until the prototype shoe gets ready. Either way, it's certainly interesting.
Well, Josh, do we have any idea of when his shoe might be ready? Because, of course, there are other parts of his line that are out there. There have been sandals. There have been other shoes out there. But I do definitely think it's really fascinating that he and his dad, LeVar, think that they can start a bidding war, which makes me think that a lot of these shoe companies didn't want to have him in the first place.
Well, look, I'll tell you what. He was actually replying to a question when someone asked him, are you trying to create a bidding war? And he said, maybe. I think it was more interesting the answer he gave on his own earlier when he said that Big Baller Brand is about choice. Although, all that aside, we don't know when the shoe is going to be production ready. He wore his own shoe for a couple games, but it's possible that was just a prototype. It's possible it didn't play well, that they're still fine-tuning the actual production model, and we don't have any information on when that shoe will actually release.
All right, well, let's get over to this week's hottest releases, shall we, Josh? Let's talk about the Jordan 9 baseball glove pack, retailing for $250, released earlier last week. What's going on with that shoe?
So this is a good example of Nike and really all the brands continuing with innovative packaging. Not so long ago when I was down on the New York Stock Exchange floor with you, we had this big, massive box that Nike had created for Kyrie Irving. This isn't quite as big as that, isn't quite as elaborate, but they've created this shoe that actually has baseball glove stitching along the sides of the shoe. And what's really interesting is there's two different colors of this shoe. It's called the Jordan 9, this is the Birmingham Barons. There's actually a brown pair that's after the Scottsville Scorpions, the other minor league team that Michael Jordan played. And the way that they're packaging it, they have this plastic bag. It's black. It's sealed. On the outside of the box, it doesn't tell you what color the shoe is, so you have to literally buy this shoe and open it until you know whether you have the brown pair or the black pair.
Wow, it's a big surprise, of course, in the big reveal when you open up your black bag to see what color you have. One of the other Jordans that's out there is one that has something involving Spike Lee. I want to get your take on these particular shoes.
Sure, right. So Spike Lee is obviously no stranger to Jordan Brand. In fact, he's been there since the very beginning in Mars Blackman. Years ago, they put the Mars Blackman logo, little Spike's glasses and Brooklyn hat, on a Jordan 4. What they did this year is they put that same logo, the Spike Lee logo, on an Air Jordan 1. It was rumored that there's only 50 pairs. It was not released to the public. We don't know exactly who got those 50 pairs, but right now there are Jordan 1 Spike Lees for sale on StockX for as much as $5,000, and there's actually active bids, which means someone is willing to pay as much as $2,000 for a pair of these right now. So we'll see if more show up, and maybe Nike releases them later in the year. But right now, $5,000 for a Jordan 1 Spike Lee.
That's crazy. That is super, super crazy. Okay, talk about the Eminem Encore.
These ones are like 15 grand, aren't they?
For $15,000 right now? What? Why?
Yeah, look, if we're going to keep talking about expensive shoes, and in particular expensive shoes that there are live bids on StockX for them, we can't not talk about the Air Jordan 4 Eminem, right? This is the Air Jordan 4 model. The Air Jordan 4 Eminem are so rare, we don't actually have it here in front of us, but there's been two, right? About 10 years ago, there was a blue one after the album for Encore. There are bids right now for $15,000 on StockX, and there was one released last year, the Jordan 4 Eminem Carhartt, that it's a black version. There's bids for $10,000 for that. So that is people willing to pay $10,000 and $15,000 for this shoe. Crazy.
It is super crazy. And then there's also a new show that aired on HBO last night, right after the premiere of Game of Thrones, The Defiant Ones. This all ties in together somehow, right, Josh?
Right. Well, look, I think there's anytime Eminem gets back in the news, he hasn't had an album in a while, but he's still Eminem. He's still, maybe the biggest, most popular rapper of all time, and he's had 15 shoes with Jordan Brand over the years. So the fact that he's now a part of this very prominent show on HBO, which is about Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine, but that contributes to the price of Eminem sneakers rising again.
Okay, all right, very, very cool. Josh Luber, CEO of StockX, joining us for a weekly segment from Detroit. Thank you so much, Josh.